Hi, my name is Suleiman Kamal. I'm from San Diego, California, and I'm the founder of Ruthless Digital, a pay-for-performance Google Ads agency specifically for e-commerce businesses. And today I'm going to be showing you what attributes make a great Google Ads agency and how to pick a Google Ads agency for your business, for your industry, for your niche. So and the most important thing, first and foremost, is relevant results within your niche or target market. So I work, for example, with e-commerce businesses that want to use Google Ads. So if you were a healthcare business, candidly, I would not be the person that you would want to pick because I don't have relevant results in that industry. I don't have technical acumen, expertise, experience, etc. So that would not make me a good fit. So lots of agencies nowadays are full service agencies. And what that means is they offer a plethora of different services. They offer Facebook ads, Google ads, SEO, TikTok ads, creatives, copywriting, email marketing, basically every service you could imagine. And I genuinely truly believe that the jack of all trades is the master of absolutely none. Because if they were good at one specific service, they would make most likely more money if they were to niche down in that one service and to over deliver and become a renowned brand within that industry. So generally, I've met a handful of people. I could count on one hand the amount of people I genuinely have met that are extremely good at delivering multiple services in the digital marketing industry. The majority of people are not like that in any capacity, and I'd highly recommend that you choose a industry that is or an agency that is offering one specific service and one specific service only. So if you were to do SEO, they should solely be an SEO agency. SEO, for example, even though this video is about Google Ads, does not relate to any other niche of digital marketing. It doesn't make sense to believe that an SEO agency could know how to handle Google Ads for you. They're just two completely different skills, and the overlap is minimal at best. So, first and foremost, you want to choose an agency that is niched in your industry. So if you are, say, a healthcare business, you would probably look for one, either a full service agency for healthcare businesses, or two, say in this specific example, a Google Ads agency for, say, dentist, if you are a dentist, right? That is the first priority, absolutely. So for if you were an e-commerce business, then you'd probably hopefully pick me since I'm a Google Ads agency for just e-commerce businesses primarily. We do have a few clients that work in other industries, but we advertise ourselves as an e-commerce Google Ads agency, and I'm very good at helping getting e-commerce businesses a great return on their ad spend using Google Ads. So that's just an example. Two, you would look on the agency's website to see if they've published any case studies that are relevant to your niche and your industry. So, for example, we recently helped a brand in the arts and crafts industry, in the arts and crafts niche. On our website, we have a detailed case study about how we were able to deliver a phenomenal return on ad spend. And if you were a business owner of hypothetically an arts and crafts business, then you would probably want to go, okay, one, is this person an agency for a specific channel, which in this case, Google Ads? Okay, two, are they within my industry? If you're selling paper or if you're selling arts and crafts online, then that is called e-commerce. So then you would look for a Google Ads agency for e-commerce businesses. Okay, now what's the third step? The third step is to make sure that they might have a few case studies within relevant niches within your industry. So, for example, if they worked with other um, paper arts and crafts businesses, if they've worked with maybe painting or artistic businesses, something that is similar within the same niche. And what this allows you to do is ascertain their skill within that specific niche. So that would be the second priority. Three, this is a huge beneficial plus point. See if they've worked in the past or are working with a competitor of yours. A competitor of yours that may sell a variety of things but also specializes in something that you are selling too. If they're able to get good results for that, there's a much likelier chance that they're going to be able to deliver phenomenal results for you because it's the closest thing to relevant experience and results within your target market, within your target audience. So that's something else that you should absolutely look for on a phone call with an agency, either in the beginning or towards the end. You should bring these questions up. Have you worked with my industry? What are your case studies within our industry? And if you have 5 or 7 big competitors, you can list them out and ask them if you worked with any of these people. That is first and foremost the top 3 things you need to ask. The fourth thing you need to ask is their timeline. What is their timeline for getting results? I tell my clients that I get results within 45 to 60 days. Now, if you're balling on a budget and you absolutely need to make your money back within 30 days, say you want to spend 5 grand on ads, but then you want to make more money before the calendar month is over so that you've made, say, 20 grand return on ad spend before you have to pay that 5 grand, I would candidly turn you away, politely, of course, because I just cannot have that level of stress, that level of liability upon myself to deliver such results within such a short time frame. It's not possible. So I would be highly skeptical of people, not because I can't do it, just because it's a general benchmark, that are promising and saying they will over deliver within a short time frame. If someone is saying, yeah, we can get you 20 times your return on money within 30 days, you have to kind of just look and see if it passes the bullshit detector test. And in this case, it probably is failing really bad, almost as bad as me in pre-calculus in college. Like, it just doesn't make sense. The promise here is too high to be able to be fulfilled within such a short time frame. So generally, you need something realistic. Obviously, as a business owner, you want your money back tenfold as soon as possible. I get it. I own a business too. That being said, you also need to have realistic expectations about how long it will take to get results. And in Google Ads specifically, if somebody's promising you grand claims in under 45 days, I would be highly skeptical. Next question that you need to ask, next attributes you need to be looking for is the pricing structure and whether it is ROI driven. What is ROI driven? Well, it's the opposite of the industry standard, which is unfortunately retainers. Most ad agencies right now, as of 2023, May 20th, work on a percentage of ad spend basis. And what this means is if you're spending, say, $100,000 a month, they'll charge 15%, so 15 grand a month. That is not ROI driven in the slightest. What is the human incentive? What is the necessary stimulus for these people to perform if they're simply collecting a fat check at the end of each month? What happens if your campaign performance sucks and they just charge 15% anyway? There is zero incentive with the typical retainer model to be ROI driven. So what you need is that the agency you're going to work with needs to have some form of a performance delivery fee, which means that based off the success of the advertising that they do, they will reap what they sow, literally. So, for example, in my case, I take that to the highest extreme possible, and we simply do not offer retainers. We do not work on a retainer basis. At Ruthless Digital, we work on a pay for performance basis, which means you only pay us when we make you X amount of dollars. So we charge generally 15% of revenue generated. So now let's compare the structure, the retainer structure to the ROI driven structure. In the retainer structure, you're paying $15,000 regardless of the results the agency gets. So even if they're failing, even if their ads are subpar, they're not getting a high ROAS, you're still paying 15%, which is terrible because your incentive as a human is not aligned with those people. Now, two, if you compare it, say, to us, I know that's making us look good, but let's just use that us as an example, Ruthless Digital. If we're spending $100,000 and let's say we're getting a 4x ROAS, 4x ROAS is a high ROAS at that spend, and I'm using it as an example, take of it as you will, we charge 15% of the revenue generated. Now you might say that's 3 times more. I get that because that's about 60 grand. I hope my math is correct. Otherwise, I'm going to be so embarrassed. But that's about 60,000. So you might say that's 4 times more than the agency that was just charging 15,000. And that's for you as a business owner to ascertain whether you can afford that. But I would counter with the fact that if you're making 400 grand and you're paying somebody 60 to do that, or around there, that's a pretty good deal because their incentive to perform highly is there. They can make a lot of money off you as one individual client by scaling your business to the moon. Whereas if you're just making 15 grand a month off one retainer, yeah, it's nice, it's easy, but there is no stimulus for change. And ultimately, all of human psychology is governed by a stimulus for change. So I would be highly critical of any agency that does not have some form of a pay for performance structure. That some agencies have a retainer and a pay for performance structure. So they might take 6.5% of revenue generated with a $2,000 base monthly retainer. That's fine. I can understand from their perspective why they want to do that. They get the best of both worlds in that case, and you pay a bit less than a pure pay for performance agency, but they're also not completely retainers. But they need to have some form of ability to capitalize on the upside in your business. And that might hurt because you might have to pay a little bit more if things go extremely well. But I think things are far more likely to go extremely well, which is obviously what you want, if there is some form of incentive to be aligned. So this comes down to the second bullet, which is whether you want a cheap agency or an expensive agency. And I would say, although cheap seems more affordable in the short run, it's actually more expensive. And what that means is that you have to think also from the other person's perspective. If you are a business owner and you're dealing with a Google Ads agency, why are they cheap? If they're good at what they do, why would they not charge more? Oh, well, you might say, oh, well, they're just nice people. Well, I say bullshit because ultimately everybody starts a business to make money. I started mine to make money ethically and morally, of course. So if they're actually good at what they do, why would they be cheap? You need to ask this question. You might ask them if their rates are below market value. Why do you guys charge less than the other people? Really, I would be very interested if you type in the comments what their answers are, because there's a good chance that their cheapness is justified by their lack of value. More often than not, this is the number one case. There are some exceptions where you find mispriced value to expense ratio, but this is quite rare. Now, the opposite end of that is people who charge a ludicrous amount. Ludicrous, and this means if you're doing a retainer, which I just made a whole segment on why you shouldn't, I would say anything above 15% of ad spend is quite ludicrous. For the pay for performance model, anything above 15% of revenue generated is quite ludicrous as well. Anything that is above those two examples, you're probably going to need to say, like, does their experience, do their results, do their case studies justify this extreme premium? Because right now, to be candid with you, advertising as a sector is overall down year over year. Why? Because we're in a recession. Marketing is generally one of the first things cut. So if they're charging that much, you need to be 100% convinced. You need to be 100% sure that they can fulfill on the expenses they're giving you as a business owner. You need to be certain that they can make you more money than you're paying them tenfold. So generally somewhere around the upper middle of the expense range is where you want to find gold. It's where you want to strike gold. If you go overly cheap and you go to Fiverr and you pay the guy $20, don't be surprised if you get $20 results. Really. You think someone talented is going to work for $20, $100, $500, $1,000? No. If they were really good, they would probably charge a lot more than that. And I know it might seem alluring in the beginning just to go cheap, but cheap ultimately pays for itself to be expensive in the long run several times over. Now that we've discussed that they should have some the agency you're working with should have some method of capitalizing upon your business's success, that they shouldn't neither be excessively cheap or excessively expensive, and the incentives between you and them being the contractor, you being the business owner, should be aligned. Third, and lastly, not necessarily finally, but not also firstly in terms of importance, is the reporting and analytics. How often are they going to update you on their results? Are you going to have to check the Google Ads account yourself? Well, I'd hope not. Generally, most agencies do a weekly performance update every week or 2 weeks. That's fine. You're not going to, if you turn on Google Ads for the first time in your business and you're expecting there to be tens of thousands of dollars just suddenly on the dashboard within 2 weeks of turning it on, then you probably shouldn't do advertising because the world's a cold place and that's not how it works, right? That being said, you don't want to be completely in the dark, and you need to be knowing what's happening within your ad account. You need to understand it. You obviously should be checking it yourself. You should be checking the change history to see how much work the agency's putting. You should also ask them questions about why certain changes are, just to understand their methodology of doing so. You should check the ads to make sure that they align with your brand values, that nothing inappropriate, especially in this PC culture, is said, so you don't get canceled, and a whole host of other factors. But you should ask them also in the strategy session call when you're with them about how often will I be reported about the updates. If I want to get on a call with you about, say, ideas I have for my business's Google Ads account, how would I be able to pitch those ideas? Would it be through text? Would it be through call? Is there both available? How would we communicate, etc.? For example, my agency, I give all my clients my personal phone number so they can text and call me whenever about any problems, issues they have, any concerns. I also add them to a Slack channel, and most of the time they'll just message me through there on the Slack channel about anything that might be of importance to them. I find that, excuse me, I find this to be of most convenience for everybody. So, yeah, you should ask these three things. You should ask how often will you be updated with the data about your account, if you want to pitch them any ideas on what to do within the ad account. And then you should also understand what are their avenues for customer support. Will it be through Slack? Will it be through email? Will it be through call? What? And also, no agency, I can't believe I have to say this, should ever kick you out of your ads account. You should always be the administrator of the ads account, and they should always be at standard access, especially in Google Ads. Never give a third party above a standard access on your ad account, because then they can remove you. You are always the admin of your own ad account. I cannot stress this enough. You are the admin, they are standard. Never give anybody more than standard access. I don't care what the reason is. Standard access is the maximum they should get. You should check to make sure conversion tracking is set up properly. I'll have a link in the description. I've made a video on how to set up conversion tracking for e-commerce businesses, specifically on Shopify, so that you make sure that your data is actually correct and it's not getting skewed because somebody's a deplorable prick and wanted to look good. And yeah, in conclusion, these are the three main things. To summarize, in essence, you want an agency that specializes within your specific industry, ideally within your niche, that has numerous case studies within your industry, ideally case studies with your competitors within the business niche you're in. You need to have them pitch you on a reasonable timeline to get expectations, a timeline that works for both people. I would highly recommend this should be between 30 to 65 days. Anything less is too skeptical and that they will not be able to perform. If it's above like 65 days, then I mean that's just too long to get your the return on money. The only exception might be SEO. Obviously, we're talking about Google Ads. Anything besides SEO, you should be able to see results within 60 days. Probably a little bit shorter. 45 is a good point of reference. The pricing structure, this might hurt some of you, especially some of the older generation. I've noticed people over 40 hate variable expenses, but there needs to be some level of variable expenses where they get profit share, they get revenue share, where they're able to capitalize based off the amount of products they sell with cold traffic, because otherwise, simply enough, they don't have an incentive to be aligned. All human behavior is based off incentives, and if you're not able to give an incentive for the agency to perform for you, why will they perform? It does not make sense. So, a flat retainer based model is hopefully dead in 2023. If you're being pitched on that, I would be skeptical because that obviously means that the agency is not confident enough. They're not competent enough to desire to want to have a percentage of revenue share, which is ultimately what everybody should, because that's the best for both parties, in my opinion. And three, you need to make sure that there's no funny business going around in your ad account, that you're understanding the data and you're being debriefed about it. If you have any ideas you want to pitch to them about maybe we should target certain keywords or we're launching new products, you should keep them up to date. And you might need to set up an occasional bi-weekly strategy call. That's what I do with most of my clients. If they want to call, usually every 2 or 3 weeks, we'll get on a short 15-minute call and discuss things that are happening, past mistakes. More often than not, though, the return on ad spend and how business is going well, and then my plans for future expectations and execution. And then they should also debrief you on what avenues, what methods of support on how you can touch base with the agency if you have any questions. So yeah, that was my short video about what you should look for when picking a Google Ads agency. I hope this helped you when trying to figure out how to pick a Google Ads agency for your business, my name is Suleiman. I am the founder of Ruthless Digital, a Google Ads agency that works on a pay for performance model for e commerce businesses specifically. If you're looking for PPC management and to scale your business using Google Ads, schedule a call below. It will be in the description, a Calendly link. And otherwise, thank you and God bless. Have a great day.